Additional financial solvency questions. Districts with a September 1st through August 31st fiscal year. Within the last 2 years, did the school district draw funds from a short-term financing note? No. For the prior fiscal year, have a total general fund balance of less than 2% of the total expenditures for the general fund in function codes 11 through 61? No, we did not. Has the school district declared financial
Exigency.
That's another one, exigency, within the past 2 years? No, we have not. Provide comments or explanations for student to staff ratios significantly more than 15% below the norm. Rapid depletion of general fund balances or any significant discrepancies between actual budget figures and projected revenues and expenditures or any other information that might be helpful in evaluating the school district's financial solvency. Our current enrollment at that time for 10-11 totals 460 students. The district staff totals 47 teachers. The student-staff ratio is 10.21, and the mean to enrolled teacher ratio range for enrollment of 250 to 499, in other words, a range for our school district, is 10.80 to 9.18. So we fell in that range. As of the close of the 10-11 fiscal year, the district's governmental funds reported combined ending fund balances of $1,765,752, an increase of $495,049 in comparison with the prior year. There were no significant variations between final budget and actual budget results. How many superintendents has your school district had in the last 5 years? We've had 2. How many business managers has your school district had in the last 5 years? We have also had 2. Now, Latexo ISD compared to the state. 900 districts received the superior rating that we received. That represents 87.46% of the total districts in the state of Texas. Here's our past performance record. It began in the 01-02 school year, and we've received superior every year except last year, and last year was the one that it hurt a whole lot of people with that fund balance question in there. So that is it, unless anyone has any questions.
Good job, Joe.
Thanks, Dick.
I don't know how to.
Thank you
Oh, I
again.
can't read it.
That's a lady there.
Okay, you wanna do your report now?
Yeah, let me turn this off.
All right. My report there, you can see the enrollment, pre-K 30, K through 6, 244, 7 through 12, 213, for a total of 487. That has changed a little bit since the 9th, but we're still pretty close to that range. Last month, it was at 481, so that's a growth of about 6 students from last month's board report. And then in last school year, at this board meeting, the November board meeting last school year, we were at 496. So you can see the change there of about 10 students or so. Our refined ADA is up to 448.40. That was up from last month, about a point there. And we did work our budget based on a refined ADA of 458. Our attendance rate for all students right now is still 97.12%, which is pretty good at this point in time, especially during all the changes in the weather and everything we've been having. We've had 1-star informational meeting for parents. The turnout was very good. We had about 50 to 60 parents there to hear some of the things that were going on with the star and some things they need to make sure that their kids are understanding. Also, Chromebooks are going out. We've got a lot of them out, and they're going out slowly as people bring back their paperwork and stuff. They're still going out. We've had a number of people come and bring their own devices. Kids are using cell phones, things like that. So it's not all having to be Chromebook.